Hey guys, Sylph here. I'd like to show you how to make something really cool, really easy. This is a very basic thing that I usually teach in my palm weaving workshops to beginners. It's called a tiered basket chain. And this is made from the end of a coconut palm frond. And I like to cut them really green and flexible so they're easy to weave with. I've already completed the bottom two baskets in the chain, and I've woven in the ends in the back so they won't unravel. And I'm going to show you how to make one of these baskets as I make the third and final one in the chain. So I hope you'll be able to see the detail, and I hope some of you guys will be adventurous enough to try this on your own. So here we go. These two baskets are each made with 5 pairs of leaflets. This one is made with skinnier leaflets, so you can see that it's smaller than the one above it. As the leaflets get wider, the product gets bigger. So this is a bigger basket up here. So there's 5 pairs left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's what I'm going to work with to make the next basket. So it's super easy. What you do first is you take the bottom 2 leaves, the pair, and you cross them like this. See that? And you make sort of a little loop. You want to make the loop kind of tight, like this. Now see how this one's crossing over this one? So you sort of just pinch it right there where it crosses. And then you go to this side and you take your next leaflet, and because this one crosses in front, this one's going to cross in the back. See that? Kind of alternates. And you're going to kind of pull it tight. So now you just hold it right there and you get the next leaflet from the next side. And because this one crossed behind, this one's going to cross in front. Oh, and I forgot to say, this yellow part here always should be facing up. That's the midrib of the leaflet. And it should always be facing up because it's going to be like a supporting part of the structure. And it's stronger than the other part of the leaflet. So you want it to always be facing up. Okay, so now you can see this. It's starting to look kind of regular. You want to make it sort of tight as you go along. You can always pinch it. I like to call this the apex, where the front 2 meet. It's like your working part of the structure. And I like to pinch it right there at the apex when I go for a new leaflet. So I come from this side, and I'm just basically alternating and making this kind of a checkerboard pattern. And I'm going to keep on doing that until all of the 5 pairs of leaflets are woven in. Just keep doing it over and over again. See? It's starting to look like something. Go to this side, weave this one in, under, over, under, like so. See that? And I'm going to pinch it right there at the apex, go to the other side, and go over, under, like that. See that? Now I'm going to go back to this side and weave my last leaflet in. Over, under, and then weave the last leaflet in on this side, under, over, under. Okay, there. So now you can see, if you can see, now you can see it's starting to look kind of like a basket. You can see the inside of it, you can see the outside of it, and what I'm going to do next is I have to secure it by weaving it back into itself, kind of, because I got all these floppy ends right now. And so what I do is I look at my apex, and the one that's on top is the leaf that I work first. So I'm going to take a hold of this one, and I want to line up the ones that it's going to go through. You can see them over here, right? And you can see that this one goes on top of this one, so that means that this one's going to go underneath it, back behind it. See that? Then I'm going to go in front of this one, behind this one, in front of this one, and now I've made it all the way to the back. See that? So now, I don't know how well you can see this. Now I'm going to weave it through these and go all the way to the main rib in the back. So because this one crossed over the top of this one, now this one's going to go back under it or behind it. And I'm going to do the same thing, alternating all the way back until this leaflet that I'm working with reaches the mid rib, or rather the main rib. And so now it comes out the back, and that's it. See, it's right sticking out right next to this main light colored rib. See? And now it's secure and I don't have to pinch anything anymore. It's held by itself. See? It's the inside of the basket. There's the bottom of the basket, side of it. Okay, so now the next thing that I do is, since I did this side already, now I'm going to go to this side. And this is my working leaflet now, because it's the one closest to the middle. So now I'm going to line up all my leaflets so I can see what I'm working with here. So they're all lined up. Now, this one was on top, so now I'm going to go in front of it. I'm going to see how it's sort of like an alternating checkerboard sort of pattern. Okay, so now I'm going to go behind this one, in front of this one, behind this one. Now I've reached where I'm going toward the back now, and I'm going to go on top of this one, under this one, over this one, under this one, and finally this way, and that's it. See that? Okay, so now go back to the front again, and I like to work like from side to side. I like to take turns, so I started on this side, then I did it from this side, now I'm going to go back to this side again. So I just sort of pull my leaflets apart so they can be seen, and I can tell what goes first and what comes second, and so on. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to go behind the one next to it, in front of the one next to it, and behind the one next to it. Always it's alternating. If you go in front of one, then your next one will be behind, and the next one will be in front, and so on. So now I want to go to the back and weave it through these leaves. It's going to go in front, in back, in front, and in back. That's it. Now we're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. So it's over, under, over, and then we get to those back ones. It's going to go under, over, under, over, and then one more time and out the back. And not everyone's going to make it all the way to the middle with the midrib. I don't know how well you can see this, but check it out. Sometimes it comes out right next to the midrib, like this one, and sometimes it doesn't come out quite next to it, and that's okay. The main thing is you weave it through as many as you can so that it's coming out the back, and then you stop. You want all of them to come out the back. So now let's turn it around to the front again, and let's look at it. We're going to go back to this side again. We got 3 sticking up here and 3 sticking up here. Go back to this side again, and we're going to go behind this one, in front of this one. Now we've made it all the way back to these again. We're going to go under, over, under, over, under, over, and out the back. And with each one, as I go along, I like to tighten them a little bit because it makes for a nicer product. Now we're going to go to the other side, and There's these three sticking up. We're going to go in front of this one, behind this one, and we're back to these again. Over this one, under the next one, this one, and out the back, like that. Okay, we're getting there. So now there's just these two on this side and two on the other side. So we're going to go back behind this one, and now we've already reached these. So we're going to go over, under, and out the back. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. And it's over, under, out the back. Now we've only got 2 loose leaflets left. It's almost done. So the thing to do now is we're going to go over this one, under, over, under. If you heard that little snap, that was the midrib that I'm working with breaking a little bit. You don't really want that to happen, but in this case, it doesn't really matter. Like, we've already made it toward the back, and it's not going to make anything too ugly, and you can't even see it in this case. Sometimes it can be a big deal. Like, it's generally better not to break this part, this yellow midrib of the leaflet. So, okay, we got one more leaflet to work in. So we're going to go under, over, under, and that's it. And it's basically done. All that's left to do is to weave in the loose ends at the back. Not weave them, but what I like to do is these little faux braids that keep the whole thing from unraveling, and they look really cool. That's what I've done with these bottom ones. See the little... They're not really braids, they're not true braids, but they're a way of twisting that kind of looks like braids, and that treats the material a little better than actual braiding does, because actual braiding kind of breaks the leaflets and roughs them up. Okay, so the next thing to do, you can see that like there's some little places where it's a little bit loose, and what we do to fix that is just take turns pulling on the leaflets that are coming out of the back until they like get uniformly tightened. So I start at the bottom and I just go all the way up on each side, and it tightens it up and it makes it like a really nice basket. I like it to be really uniform, and I like to close up all the gaps as much as possible, and then it can be used for storing almost anything. It's not watertight, but you could even put like, I don't know, beads or something in it. Not seed beads, but like larger size beads. This would hold them. And the other reason why I do this is that when it dries, it naturally shrinks a little bit, and it causes these gaps in between to open up a little bit more. And to minimize that, I like to tighten it up really well before I do the braiding to secure the ends. So this is going to be a really awesome basket. And sometimes as I do this tightening, I find that I can even like do one more weave in some of the strands, like in this case. Yeah, and that makes it even better. Like basically you just want all the gaps as closed up as you can get them. And so now you can see this is really pretty closed and pretty uniform. Looks really nice, and it's kind of symmetrical. I mean, it's never going to be like perfectly symmetrical because, you know, the fronds don't really grow that way, but as much as possible, I like it to be symmetrical. So this is how I make that happen. Alright, so now the last step in making these is to do up the loose ends in the back. I'll show you how I do that. Hopefully you can see this. I like to start at the bottom, and I take the first 3 strands. So like 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to tuck this other stuff up here out of the way so it doesn't interfere with your seeing what I'm doing down here. Okay, so you can see that there's 3 of these little guys here. And I take the one in the middle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ones on the right and the left, and I'm going to sort of like wrap them around it. So I'll put the left one over the middle one, the right one over that one. Then I'm going to come back to this one, which was my left and is now my right, and go under the middle one, and do the same thing with the other side. And I'm just going to go over, over, under, under, and I'm doing it kind of tightly, but not like super ridiculous tightly. And I'm going to go over, over, under, under, over, over, under, under, until I get kind of close to the end, and then I'm going to tie it to secure it. And I've reached to where one of them is too short to work with anymore, so that'll be my ending point. So now I just take a hold of them all, I pinch them close like that, and I make a knot, just a very simple knot there. And now I want to very carefully work my knot closed so I don't tear up the palm fibers. So now that I've got it closed, then I'm going to tighten it just to the point where it's really tight, but not where I'm tearing it. There. Now it's not really a braid, as you can see. It's kind of more of just a twist, but it keeps it really secure, and so that this part is not going to unravel. So now take loose these leaves that I tucked up there, and I'll take my next 3, which are right down here. I'm going to tuck these top ones up so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to braid these. There's some other ways to finish these baskets off. Sometimes I've like made little roses and stuff like that, but that's a little more advanced technique and it's a little more time consuming. So for this video, I'm just going to stick with this technique. So I just go over, over, under, under, over, over, under, under, and I just keep going that way until I run out of material. And once I'm there, and I just tie my knot, and that's it. So this is like a really cool thing, and this was the second thing that I learned how to do with coconut palm. When I was living in Belize, the family that we were staying with had one of these baskets hanging in their kitchen, and it was like really old and dusty and dried out, and I just thought it was cool as hell. And I was like, hey, can I borrow this and check it out for a while and see if I can figure out how to make it? And they let me take it down off the wall and look it over, and it took me about 15 minutes, and I went and cut my first palm frond, and I just started experimenting with it. And I don't know, about 15-20 minutes later, I had my first one of these baskets. So it's that easy. Like, if I could, you know, never having made one before, just look at it and figure out how to make it, it's an easy project to begin with. And this is what I teach to people in my workshops. This is the first project of palm weaving. And so, yeah. You can do a lot of things with these because they will hold weight. Like they, you know, I'm pulling pretty hard on this and it's not tearing. It's pretty strong. And you know, the bigger you make these, the more weight they'll hold. Like this one, you can put potatoes or something in here, it will hold. I mean, these will last for years, and the tighter that I get this part back here, the better it'll turn out when it dries. You can use these in the kitchen or your bathroom or like wherever you have a little stuff that you want to sort and keep track of. And you know, it's cool. Rustic, tropical style. So I hope that some of you guys will try this out. You know, I know not everybody has coconut palm growing around where they live, but if you live in Florida, or if you vacation there, or if you live in Southern California or Southern Texas, you might be able to do this. And I hope some of you guys will try and, you know, make your own videos and send to me and show me what you can do. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Palm weaving. Love you guys. Bye.